Welcome everyone to the first SCS webinar titled How to Set Up a Dual Wire Workstation. My name is Henry Salgado. I'm the National Sales Manager for SCS. Today I'm joined alongside our rookie Western Regional Sales Manager, Mr. Kevin Silva, who has graciously volunteered to be today's presenter. Well, I don't know if he volunteered or he was voluntold, but we're going to go with volunteered. So with that being said, we're going to move on to a couple of housekeeping items. We encourage everybody to ask plenty of questions, and there is a task bar on the right side of your screen that lets you ask questions. We're going to be breaking throughout the presentation, and we're going to be answering some of your questions. If we don't get to everybody's questions today, we will send an email with the question and with the answer attached to it. So please, we highly recommend that everybody asks plenty of questions in today's presentation. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Kevin Silva, who has a couple of webcam housekeeping items before we start the presentation. So without further ado, Mr. Kevin Silva.
Thank you, Henry, for the introduction. Guys, really quick, we have two cameras set up for you guys. You'll see a drop down at the top. It's a webcam settings bar. Go ahead and select top, bottom, left, or right. You can go ahead and adjust the camera size to your desired width. So give you guys about 5 seconds to get set up. First, we'll get started on the tools needed. Again, there is no magic tricks needed. They said this is so easy, even a rookie like me can do it. So tools needed, we have a flathead screwdriver. So first, most important part is we have a dual layer rubber mat constructed with a conductive layer. We have our continuous monitor. We have our grounding cords, our wrist strap. So let's get into the installation. Now, again, this is a very basic installation. This is it's a very basic installation. So it'll be very easy to do for any sort of level of ESD. All right. So first, what is an ESD work surface? Now, an ESD work surface is any surface where an exposed sensitive device is placed. In this case, it's our 8900 series dual layer rubber mat. It's a surface to safely ground away static charges. Now, it's important to qualify your mat. Using a homogeneous mat without a conductive layer will cause the monitor to go into an alarm. Now, again, we are using the 8900 series mat today. So first step is we want to qualify our product. Now, the standard calls for a required limit of less than 1 × 10⁹. So I'm going to show you guys here how to qualify our product. We have our resistance pro meter here. Again, the first test we'll be doing is a top-to-top test. We have our weights. Okay, it's a very simple test. We have our spacer, which is included with the resistance pro. Again, we have our black lead to one weight. We have a red lead to our second weight. So again, first test, it's our top-to-top test, and we wanted to meet the required limit of less than 1 × 10⁹. So here we're qualifying our product. 2.2 × 10⁶, well within range. So now that we've qualified our product, we're going to go ahead and go into the installation of our mat. Today we are using a green ground cord here without a 1 megohm resistor built in. We don't suggest using a 1 megohm resistor. We've already confirmed that we have at least 1 meg resistance on our top layer. So we're going to go ahead and go into the installation. Now, this is slightly different than what you guys may be used to. This is going to be a threaded screw connection in comparison to the push and clinch that you guys may be used to. So again, very easy to install. No extra tools needed. Flathead screwdriver is all I'm using here. So we take our mat. All I'm doing is punching a hole through here. Right? So you want to make sure the threaded screw is making great contact with the conductive layer. Again, when you are pairing your mat with the continuous monitor, it's very important that you are making contact with that conductive layer. So again, threaded screw here. Very easy to install. Again, this takes about 5–10 seconds. Here we have our threaded screw, and all we're doing is connecting to our ground hub, which is tied to our facilities ground. Right. So now that our mat is grounded, we need to verify that our mat is grounded. So again, first test we did was a top-to-top test, which is an RTT test. So now we'll be doing a resistance to ground. All right, so we want it to meet the required limit of less than 1 times 10 to the 9. So we have our black lead that's going directly to our ground. Going through our loop here. Again, this is very important. You want your mat to be individually grounded as it needs its own path to ground. So testing resistance to ground. Again, we want it to be less than 1 times 10 to the 9. Perfect. 1.37 times 10 to the 6. Well within range. So now that we verified that our mat is grounded, we jump into our wrist strap and our monitors. Again, the wrist strap of choice today is the dual wire MaxNav 360. Although SCS does have a wide offering, we are using the MaxNav 360 today. Again, this is a dual wire installation. We do get the question of why dual wire. Now, dual wire provides what's called redundant grounding. Redundant grounding is a dual safety feature, which allows you to remain grounded when one of your mag resistors is broken. As you can see here, the 2-1 mags. Now, the MaxNav 360, as you can see, does not have any mechanical springs. It's constructed without the mechanical springs. You get a longer lifespan with your wrist strap. So again, MaxNav 360. And we'll go ahead and send it back to Henry if there's any questions so far. And we'll go into the completing the installation of the dual wire workstation.
Excellent, Kevin. So far, so good. So far, it is pretty simple. If you ask me, I'll tell you right now, you don't look like a rookie to me, man. So far, so good. Well done. A couple of questions so far. The first question that we have is, why is a conductive layer in the mat needed with a dual wire monitor?
Perfect. That's a great question. Again, so when you are using an SCS continuous monitor, it's very important that you are pairing it with a mat that has a conductive layer. Again, the monitors are designed with an upper limit of 3.5 meg, which is about 3.5 times 10 to the 6. So you want to make sure that you do have a conductive layer. When you are using a homogeneous material, any sort of single layer vinyl, single layer rubber, the resistance levels are too high, which will cause the monitor to go into an alarm as soon as it's installed.
Very good. Makes perfect sense to me. Second question is, why do you recommend using a cord without a resistor?
That's a great question, and we do get that question a lot. Again, SCS monitors are compatible with both cords with a 1 meg resistor and without. In this case, we are using a cord without a 1 meg resistor. We've already confirmed that we're getting at least 1 meg resistance on our top layer. There's no need to add that second resistant layer.
Perfect. Outstanding. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. We will be answering a couple more questions at the end of the presentation. Again, as I stated earlier, any questions we don't get to, we will make sure that we follow up with you. So go ahead, Kevin, it's back to you.
All right, guys, so we're going to jump into our fourth step here. Again, SCS does have a wide offering of continuous monitors. Today, the monitor of choice is the 724 Plus. It has a lot of benefits, but I think the most important is that it's very easy to install. Since this is a basic dual wire workstation installation, we are using the 724 Plus. It's also one of SCS newest offerings. Like I said, it's very easy to install, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the installation of the monitor here. So we've confirmed that our mat is grounded. So we'll go ahead and jump into the monitor here. So first, we have our green ground cord here. Now this is the monitor's dedicated ground. You want to make sure your monitor is grounded. So we have our green ground cord. Again, these cords will be included with the 724 Plus. We have our terminal block here. And all we're doing is going directly to our terminal block. Again, you want to make sure that this is screwed down tight. You don't want to accidentally pull these out. Give it a little tug here. So all I'm doing is I'm taking this ring terminal and going directly to the ground hub. Again, this ground hub is tied to our facility's ground. Right. Get that screwed in there. So here we go to our terminal block. That's our green ground cord. Again, the monitor's ground cord. So now we have the mat monitor cord. Now this is very important. We do get the question of, do you need that second cord when we have our, so the question is a 724 plus, why do you need that second cord? Again, the mat needs to be individually grounded. What the white mat monitor cord is doing, all you're doing is monitoring the mat's reference to ground. In this case, the green ground cord is our reference, right? So you want to make sure when installing, you are installing this on the opposite end. You want to monitor the mat's conductivity throughout the complete workstation. So very simple to install. Again, same as our ground cord here. It's going to be the threaded screw, punch a hole through here. Again, no extra tools needed. All I have is my flathead screwdriver. So make sure it's making contact with our conductive layer here. Let's go ahead and get this screwed on. Again, very important that you are installing on the opposite end. Bring that over here. That you are installing on the opposite end. You want to make sure you are monitoring the entire workstation. So the 724 plus, it's neat here. You see the ground is labeled and the mat is labeled. So we'll go ahead and go to our terminal block here. Again, make sure you have a secure connection. Again, no extra tools needed. All I'm using is one flathead screwdriver. So tie this in here. We have our connection, which we're plugging in our operator remotes. Again, very easy to install. This usually takes about 30 to 45 seconds. So now that we have these plugged in, our last step will be to power up our monitor. Again, like I said, make sure you have a secure connection. You don't want to accidentally remove any cords. So I'll give this one more shot here. There you go. Last step again, powering up our monitor. Again, very easy to install. Perfect, there you go. As you can see right off the bat, the 724 Plus has a much smaller footprint. With the much smaller footprint, it gives the monitor the versatility to basically mount anywhere on the workbench. Also, one of the key features of the 724 Plus is the upgraded technology. The response time is almost instant. So as we know, ESD events can happen in nanoseconds. So we want to make sure the response time is as fast as possible. I'm going to show you guys a quick demonstration here. So I'm going to go ahead and take my MagSnap 360, make sure it's plugged in here. So I'm going to my operator 1. All right, make sure I'm getting a good connection here. So I'm going to go ahead and break my ground. I'm going to show you guys how quick the response time is. Right, again, one more time, break my ground. Again, almost instant, very important. As we know, ESD events happen in nanoseconds. Also, a key feature is the operator body voltage detection. I'm going to show you guys a quick demonstration using a standard 9-volt battery. This is very important in any application where you are using torque drivers or soldering tools that need to be grounded. Anytime the tool is not grounded and anytime the tool is not grounded and you are applying that voltage onto the operator, the monitor will go into an alarm when more than 2.5 volts are applied. So again, you want to make sure that you are connected here. I'm going to show you guys a quick demonstration. Or I'm not sweating all the way yet.
That means you're not nervous enough. Good job.
So again, we are passing. So it works with both positive and negative voltage. So quick demonstration here. I'm going to apply negative 9 volts again using a 9-volt battery. Right. So again, very important in any application where you are using a torque driver or soldering tool or any sort of equipment that needs to be grounded. I think the most important feature of the 724 Plus is the lower test voltage. The universally known 724 would apply about 9 to 16 volts. With the 724 Plus, you are getting 0.4 volts. As technology advances, components get a lot smaller, a lot more sensitive. You want to apply the lowest amount of voltage. In other terms, fingertip voltage. So lower test voltage, lower voltage being applied onto the board. So we're going to go ahead and take it back, get any questions. Again, quick recap. We're going to make sure we are using our mat, dual layer rubber mat with a conductive layer constructed. In this case, it's an 8900 series SCS mat. We are using our ground core without a 1 meg ohm resistor built in. It's all being tied into our common point ground here, which is tied into our facilities ground. Now to bring it all together, we have our 724 Plus, which is one of SCS newest offerings.
Outstanding. Kevin, first of all, man, great job. Rookie sales manager jumping on a first webinar. You did a great job. My hat's off to you. Very well done. A couple of other questions. Let's see. Why is it important to have a lower test voltage? So the 724 being 9 and 16 volts and the 724 plus being 0.40 volts.
Yeah, great question. And we do get that question a lot. Now, in other terms, it's the fingertip voltage. So the lower test voltage being applied onto the operator, the lower voltage that's being applied onto any components that you're working on. Again, as technology advances, the components do get smaller, which become a lot more sensitive. So we want to make sure we're using the lowest amount of test voltage possible.
Excellent.
Great question.
Yeah, great, very good question. The last question that we'll do today is why dual wire versus single wire? We get this one a lot, don't we?
We do get that question a lot. Again, it's the most important or the key benefit of the dual wire over single wire is redundant grounding. This is a key feature in any safety compliance. When the second 1 meg resistor breaks, you are still grounded with that second 1 meg resistor.
Excellent. Very, very good. As I mentioned earlier, if we don't get to all your questions, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up now. But we do have a couple of questions out there that Kevin and I will, if it has to do with the video, you guys want to see something, we'll shoot a quick video, email it to you to make sure we answer all of your questions. So with that being said, my contact information along with Kevin Silva's contact information is on the screen. Again, I am the National Sales Manager for SCS. Kevin is our Western Regional Sales Manager for SCS. We want to thank everybody for joining us today. We will be having one of these webinars once a month. A couple of the upcoming subjects are going to be event detection, our static management program. We also have a packaging webinar that our packaging manager, Christine Bennis, will be doing. We want to thank everybody once again, and hope you guys have a great rest of your week and stay safe out there.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy your day.
Thank you so much.